Shop Boys, and it's us. You're listening to BBC Radio Devon. A warm welcome along. If you've just joined us this Friday afternoon, it's Pippa Crouch with you. 11 minutes past 1. Michael Checker is here from 2 o'clock, taking a closer look at the big news stories of the day. What do we have here then? Snow, turkey, family, chocolates? That pretty much sums up a large chunk of Christmas for many people, doesn't it? We're not sure about the snow, but the family bubbles are all sorted now. The turkey's on its way, and thank heavens, the chocolates have arrived in the post, thanks to Adrian Doherty, former Royal Marine Commando turned chocolatier. This has to be one of my favourite Food Fridays. Adrian, welcome along. Thank you so much for all these lovely chocolates.
Good afternoon, Pippa. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
I only wish that you could be here in the studio, but for obvious reasons, we can't. I'll tell you something, though. They're gathering. The team is gathering, longing to try a few of your chocolates, which we will in just a bit. They are real masterpieces. But we've got your friend, haven't we? Lee Spencer to thank for telling us about what you do. You serve together?
That's correct, yeah. I've known Lee for many moons, roughly about 25 years. And he buys chocolates every year, and I dropped some up for him a couple of weeks ago. And he asked how the year had gone, and it's the same as everybody else's year. It's been a bad year. And he says, why don't you get on the radio? And I completely ignored him. And lo and behold, here I am.
Here you are, yes, there's no escape, especially when chocolates are good. You know something, Adrian, my husband was in the services, and when that comes to an end, it is easy, isn't it, to feel a little bit lost career-wise. Did you always have a firm idea what you wanted to do when you came out?
I honestly had no idea at all, because I got to about the 15-year mark within my career, and I decided to retrain. So I went into the chef's branch. I haven't always been a chef. And I done all the training, got all the qualifications, and then I went out to serve in a couple of commando units in 4-2, 4-5, up in Scotland. But then I ended up getting drafted for my final draft to a cookery school in HMS Raleigh, and that was working for the Royal Navy. Right. And I got given a huge task in the job. I was the restaurant manager for the Level 2 MBQ in Professional Cookery, so all the new chefs that were coming through, huge task. Yes. And thankfully I have a fantastic guy called Paul Parker, who was the MBQ assessor, and we were like the grumpy old men in the office, and he helped me through. He was a wealth of knowledge. But it was whilst I was working in that role that I found chocolate. That's where it all comes from.
You had a grounding then in all types of food, but it was chocolate that you were drawn to. Yeah,
there was a basic class, and then there was the advanced class. There was two senior instructors, Phil Ferguson and Phil Roberts. They went off and managed to get themselves some chocolate making courses, which is very unusual for chefs. They then brought that skill set back to the school. And I looked at some of the chocolates that these two guys were making, and my first thought was, why don't all chocolates look like that? So that's what I tried to do. I tried to give you a box of chocolates that you just don't get anywhere else. So the boxes that you've got now are the same as what I was making 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I haven't changed them.
They are stunning. We'll take a closer look and describe them and taste them as well a little bit later on. But I mean, it's interesting really that you know, it is such a speciality. There is an awful lot then to learn in the world of chocolate.
An awful lot. When I first started, I spent the first year, whilst I was still in the cookery school, deliberately making mistakes with chocolate, so I could see them unfold and then see how I could correct them. And that paid dividends. People used to think I was a little bit crazy at the times, but now every single chocolate I make is absolutely stunning. So it's like anything. Once you know how to do something, it becomes really easy. But until then, it seems an impossible task, and chocolate was such a hard product to work with. And I'll never say master, never ever, but to understand it a little bit more.
So it's just trying to understand the art of it. I mean, temperature, I should imagine, is one of the most difficult things to master.
Yeah, it's all to do with room temperature as well, not just temperature of chocolate, so the humidity, it can't be too damp. But for example, dark chocolate, I heat it up. I do everything by hand. I don't use tempering machines. It's a lengthy process. I heat everything up to about 45, 46 degrees. And then the chocolate I use comes in calic form, so it's like little chocolate buttons.
Oh, yeah.
I then add them into the melted chocolate, which cools it down very quickly. And I then bring it down to 32 degrees, and then I keep it at 32 degrees the entire time I'm making all of my chocolates, which is generally about an hour at a time. So it's a lengthy process, but it has to be very meticulous. It has to do that, otherwise the chocolate will turn out dull, or it will turn out soft, which is not what I'm after.
No, exactly. So you use moulds, and then for the centres of the chocolate, you need to find it. It is quite intricate, isn't it, when you think about the processes involved in creating those little masterpieces?
There is so much to it. With the centres as well, everything's all fresh ingredients. I don't use cream. I don't like the taste on the roof of your mouth after you've eaten chocolate with cream in. But yeah, the fresh ingredients, a lot of alcohol. If you use fresh cream in your ganaches, they're probably looking at 7 to 10 days to last, realistically. But without cream in them and a bit of alcohol, these have all been tested down in Cornwall as well, so I've actually got 3 months shelf life on them.
Yes.
And that's very good for fresh ingredients. Very good.
How wonderful. You do need qualifications, don't you, to be classed as a chocolatier?
Believe it or not, you don't. All you need is a very basic level 1 in food hygiene, so you know the processes that you should be conducting whilst you're in the kitchen. But obviously, as a chef, I've got level 4.
Yes.
So it's way beyond what I needed. But when I set up the small business, that's when I was really at my depth, because then I had to find out everything that the AHO required, trading standards, and there was so much more to it. The chocolate is really only the tip of the iceberg.
It started off as a hobby, didn't it? Until your chocolate was really in demand.
That's correct. Yeah, I was watching what Bill and Phil were doing in the school, and I was trying to copy what they were, and yeah, I pushed them out at Christmases to family and friends, whether they wanted them or not, and they were my guinea pigs to start with, shall we say, because I was adjusting flavours and trying to get everything just right. And then once I was happy, then I went forward with the business.
So you set up Loco About Cocoa. I love that name, that's great. And you have Adrian very kindly sent us some samples. So we're going to do some tasting in just a moment. We'll get a bit of music first, and then the whole team will assemble, all right? So don't go away.
Thank you very much.
It's Pippa with you this Friday afternoon, and has to be. Producer Joe is joining me. We've also got
so too as well.
also got the whole team. Lucy's here in the news. Ali's here. Oh, hello.
Hello.
And our guest this afternoon is Adrian Doherty. Adrian, it's like the vultures have swooped because
well, let's hope they taste okay.
I'm sure they will. We're just looking. Adrian Doherty, who is from the company, set up the company Loco About Cocoa, has sent in some beautiful chocolates. We've talked about his journey from Royal Marine Commando to becoming master chocolatier, and these are stunning. You described them to me last week, Joe, as jewels, and they really are beautiful. It's all about visual, is it for you, Adrian?
Everything. It's when you open a box of chocolates, you should be hit with a few things. Obviously, get that beautiful, rich smell of the chocolate itself, and that should have you salivating straight away. But then when you look at the box, it's all about the presentation. It's the old saying, we eat with our eyes. And if something looks visually beautiful, you want to eat it. And then another one, and then another one.
I know. I'm not even going to talk about calories because, especially at Christmas time, we don't think about those kind of things. So the colours here, I've got the menu card. That's one of the most important things to me when you get your box of chocolates. So we've got things like coffee liqueurs, peppermint fondant, Christmas pudding. Oh, I've got to try that one in a minute. That looks stunning. The design on it, how beautiful. Where do the colours come from? Do you go for a very natural sort of ingredient?
The colours are actually cocoa butter. That's obviously a chocolate, but it's been pre-coloured. So when I apply to the moulds, it looks really dull. It doesn't look very nice at all. But once I temper the chocolate, if I temper the chocolate correctly, once the chocolates turn out, they have that beautiful shine on them. It's like a translucent shine. It's like an in-depth shine, like you're looking at a marble. And that's what makes the chocolate a little bit special.
And can the tempering process go very wrong very easily?
Very easily, and that's what I spent the first 12 months deliberately making mistakes. I practiced at home in the kitchen when I first started, and if my wife Kathy come in and put the kettle on, the increased steam and humidity in the kitchen where I was working would be enough to make the chocolate dull. So it's got to be a good temperature, as the room temperature as well as the chocolate. Yeah.
They look stunning. I'm getting such grim looks from everyone because they just want to tuck in. How about Ali? Ali and Lucy next door. What have you seen that you fancy having a go?
Oh, we both went for the same one, didn't we?
We were both after the hazelnut and sea salt caramel. Because we're both a bit of a salted caramel kind of
Who's
gal.
going to get the chance to have it then?
No.
But thankfully there's enough
There's
to go
two.
around.
There's two. Happy
Sorry,
days.
Adrian, what were you saying?
So with that chocolate, because I've added in the caramelised hazelnut, you lose a bit of the sea salt. So you might get a ooh and then a oh.
Come on then, someone
Shall
try it.
we?
Beautiful
Go on.
caramelised hazelnut in there. And the caramel, last year, I found a beautiful butter from True Living Dairy, and the caramel is beautiful and creamy now. It's little tweaks every so often.
Normally I don't like fancy chocolates. Now, genuinely, I normally don't. But oh my goodness, it's really light. It's not too rich, and that's the best thing, I think. And you're right. There's the right amount of sweetness, and then that hazelnut comes in, and oh my goodness, that's so good.
It's important to get the right balance. So with the milk chocolate, I've gone nutty flavours. With the white chocolate, it's more fruity. And the dark, you can be a little bit more adventurous, like say with the Christmas puddings and the peppermint fondant, which everybody expects.
It is a commodity, isn't it, that is so freely available. Chocolate is everywhere, in every shop practically. But this is appealing, I guess, to a real foodie market. Are people prepared to pay a little more for chocolates like this that you're finding?
They really are. I normally do Christmas fairs and Christmas events all around the southwest every year. This year it's been a bit different. I've gone online. But as quick as I can make them, they sell, because I'm as bad as anybody else. You go to the garage, you put petrol in, and then you buy a bar of chocolate because you're a little bit hungry. We don't really appreciate chocolate for being chocolate. It's just sugars and flavourings. But if you actually buy a nice box of chocolates, you won't certainly eat all 24 or 36. You'll have 2 or 3 tonight, 2 or 3 tomorrow night, 2 or 3 the night after, or you might.
Yes.
You might eat them all. But it's more of a luxury box of chocolates and a treat. It's indulgence, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I mean, some of the flavours here. Fragrant mango puree. There's the tropical coconut and white rum. Joe, what's grabbed you?
You know what? I always go for the hazelnut praline.
Go on then.
So I'm going to have to try that one, and it just looks gorgeous. It's not just a brown chocolate. It's got swirls of blue and yellow in it as well. And I can't wait to get my teeth into
it.
And
the shape of them are fascinating as
yeah,
well. They
do look
just like jewels.
They do. They've got a real
diamond cut on it. That
one.
Yeah,
really nice.
That's all in the mould then, is it, Adrian?
I'm going in.
Yeah, I've got so many moulds that you just wouldn't believe how many moulds I've got. But it's all in the preparation, so they have to be washed, dried, polished out by hand, and then recoloured. So everything is a lengthy process. There's so many things that can go wrong with making chocolates. That did used to go wrong. Not anymore though, thankfully.
See, the other two in the other studio are still tucking in. Are you enjoying yourselves there? I don't think they can talk. They're eating too
We've
much.
just been having a feast.
Yes, I bet. Yeah. Adrian, it's all going down well here. The one that I really do want to try is this Christmas pudding. It's nearly Christmas, so let's go for this. I mean, there's so many to choose from. Vanilla and almond liqueur. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, nutty one, definitely.
Citrus notes of lemon. Yeah, this is the Christmas pudding. Now, it's described as traditional mixture of chopped boozy spiced fruit and a brandy ganache.
There's a lot of brandy. Goes into those chocolates.
Am I going to be able to drive home after this, Adrian?
How many you eat?
And the design on top, how beautiful! You've got little tiny sort of triangles of blue and grey and white. Stunning. It is a piece of art, really.
I've tried to share the colours around the different chocolates, so visually when you open the box, you look at it, you immediately start scanning around each chocolate. You don't just get drawn to one chocolate. I've tried to make them all equally as pretty, shall we say.
I've just had a mouthful of Christmas pudding. It is beautiful.
It goes really well with dark chocolate, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well. Really, really lovely. Well, we could tuck into the whole.
I use is only 54% as well, so it's not bitter. Once again, it's a smooth chocolate. I do darker chocolates, but this one is. I've done lots of taste testing, and the white milk and dark chocolate that are in those boxes now, they were the most popular by far. So that's the ones I use for my sharer boxes.
I have a funny feeling you're going to have a busy run up to Christmas. A couple of weeks left. It's going well, is it, despite the pandemic year?
My mail order this year has been absolutely crazy. I wasn't prepared for it. I normally go to events and chat to people, and mail order has totally caught me off guard. It's been fantastic. So many people out there, your listeners, are all supporting small businesses with massive help after the year that we've been through. So yeah, I'm going to carry this on now, and I'm going to keep the roller coaster going through to Valentine's and Easter. And hopefully everybody who's bought them has enjoyed them enough to come back for some more.
I'm sure they will. I know that I'm just reading on the back of the card you're donating to charities and very responsible in how you're sourcing as well the cocoa.
Yeah, my wife, she's a dog trainer, a little business called Think and Dog. She is absolutely obsessed with dogs, and everything she does are charity boards, and money goes towards a charity. For myself, being ex-forces, I support Saffron. I do charity events with them every year. But I think it's quite important to give a little bit back, because so many people have been fantastic along the way, and I think you've got to give a little bit back every so often.
Adrian, it's so interesting hearing your story. May your company go from strength to strength. We've certainly enjoyed it today. Thank you so much for the chocolates and for the chat. We've really enjoyed it, and best of luck for the future.
Thank you very much for having me.
Take
Thanks
care.
very much. Okay.
That's
Bye-bye.
Adrian Doherty from Loco About Cocoa. And, well, I think everyone has thoroughly had a wonderful time today. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, what is the time?